A very warm welcome to all of you. Today in this presentation we are going to talk about the purpose of the research. The research purpose is a statement of why the study is being conducted or the goal of the study. The goal of the study might be to identify or describe a concept or to explain or predict a situation or solution to a situation that indicates the type of study to be conducted. The research purpose should be stated objectively or in a way that it does not reflect particular biases or value of the researcher. Now there are main 5 objectives of doing a research. First is identification, then description, exploration, explanation, and prediction and control. Let us see one by one. In the identification stage, the efforts are made to identify the root cause of the problem by collecting information and then talking with the stakeholders. Combining existing research and information from your stakeholders can offer some insight into the problem and its causes. Consider the data sources that could help you more clearly define the problem. And for identification of a problem, one should start by doing an environmental scan or a literature review. Sometimes doing a survey in the community can be a good initiating measure, especially when the product has to be developed. Now here the word stakeholder has to be clarified. The stakeholders are people who are decision makers or are involved in policy making and are probably the people who are going to invest in your research. Then comes the description. In the description, we have to describe how the problem occurs, how serious it is, and its outcomes and impacts. Doing this can help you identify any gaps in the data that you have gathered, and it is often mandatory to collect information by undertaking an extensive literature review to find out about the theories, concepts, and methods already known. In the next stage, we have to gather data by conducting carefully designed experiments for an in-depth understanding of the problem. The data collected is organized and analyzed to reduce meaningful information that can be used for policy making. The investigation is generally done on a sample which is a representative of the actual population so that the results can be generalized on the population. Then the scientists develop a hypothesis or a possible explanation of the phenomena based upon what they have observed and researched, and the hypothesis will be tested and a conclusion will be reached stating that the hypothesis can either be disapproved or cannot be disapproved through testing. After sufficient data has been collected, analyzed, and researcher is able to reduce the uncertainty and bridge the missing gaps to develop a pattern so that the prediction about the outcomes can be made and also measures to control the problem can be taken in a manner that it can either eliminate it or reduce its intensity. For example, when the problem of corona started, then very little was known about the disease. Only news was coming that people were dying because of a new disease. Then the scientists collected the basic information about the disease and identified the problem. They were able to identify the causative agent as a virus. Next, they further described the problem by telling as to how the disease occurred and what are the symptoms, what parts are affected. The researcher started conducting the drug trials to find out the possible cure. Once the drug is effective, they develop a theory to explain the mechanism of action. Also, we saw that the stakeholders were able to predict that the disease had a potential of becoming a pandemic, and hence to control the disease, tough decisions like lockdowns were imposed. Hopefully, you have understood the main purpose of doing research. See you in the next video.